Our story opens today at the Slick Observatory, where an international group of scientists, eggheads and double domes, were meeting to dedicate the new giant 1,000-inch telescope. The chairman, Sir Newton Fugg, was presiding.
Today we will prove once and for all that there can be no life on the moon.
Dr. Milton Nudnik, Egghead of the Year, was given the honor of the first peek.
What do you see?
I see two moon creatures.
Impossible!
The scientists rushed to the eyepiece, and incredibly, Nudnik was right.
Why, it's a moon moose.
And he's signaling us.
What does he say?
He says, "Here we come, ready or not."
Sure enough, a strange rocket ship had left the moon and was heading straight for the Earth. The word spread in a flash.
Extra, extra, moon men to invade Earth. President declares emergency.
Now hear this. This is Dorson Bell speaking. The moon rocket ship is nearing the Earth. This invasion is not a play, I repeat, not a play. Please feel free to panic.
And some people did panic. Stores closed, houses were shut up tight. Everywhere, panic reigned.
What's the headlines, George?
Invasion from moon.
So what else is new?
Meanwhile, at Washington Airport, the newly appointed ambassador to the moon, Krebney Blatt, and other dignitaries and diplomats were waiting for the strange craft to land.
Here it comes.
The rocket ship had made a perfect one-point landing, and while all eyes watched expectantly, the hatch opened.
Welcome, moon people. You dig 'em Earth talk?
Bullwinkle, they think we're moon people.
They do? Then take me to your president.
No, we gotta tell him the truth. Gentlemen, I'm Rocky the Flying Squirrel.
And I'm Bullwinkle the moose.
And we're both from Frostbite Falls, Minnesota.
Minnesota?
You mean you've been to the moon and back?
Why, they've discovered a great new rocket fuel.
And so to a hero's acclaim, our adventurers told their strange and incredible story. It seemed that just days before, in their little house in Frostbite Falls, Bullwinkle had been baking a quick-rising cake according to his grandmother's old recipe. But the first layer had risen a little faster than they'd expected. And the next thing they knew, the stove had been blown clear to the moon. Well, they had to get it back.
Sure, we still owe 2 payments on it.
And so the boys put together their version of a spaceship and used the second layer of that extraordinary cake to propel them to the moon.
And the third layer blasted us back.
That cake batter must be a revolutionary rocket fuel.
My boy, you must make more of that cake for your government.
Bullwinkle, you're gonna be a famous scientist.
Well, after all, I am a graduate of MIT, the Moose Institute of Toe Dancing.
Unfortunately, our boys wouldn't have been so happy had they overheard 2 notorious spies.
You hear, Natasha? First get the formula and then kill the moose or vice versa.
And so a short while later, the new director of guided mousels was interrupted by...
Hello, you great, big, wonderful moose.
Why, that's right neighborly of you.
You will give me Grandmama's recipe?
What for?
Well, I hope to be a grandmama myself someday.
I'd love to, but in the explosion, I only saved half my recipe. I know how much, but not what of.
Natasha's friend then did a very unneighborly thing.
Darling, will you please hold this package for me?
Well, I'd planned to leave in a couple of minutes.
Don't worry, you will.
Sounds like a clock.
Bullwinkle's steel trap mind had done it again. It was a clock, only attached to 14 sticks of dynamite, and it was wired to go off in 30 seconds. Don't miss tomorrow's exciting episode, Bullwinkle's Ride, or Goodbye, Darling.
And now it's time for...
Time for the dancing fool, Bullwinkle.
Again? And now for one of our special fairy tales.
Yeah.
A long, long time ago, more than a year in fact, a little girl lived with her mother in a little house on the edge of a deep wood. It was a pretty house, and she was a pretty girl. Her name was Trissanelda Wolfenpickle. But she had such lovely golden curls that everybody called her Goldilocks, which you must admit was just as well. Now, Goldilocks had just one bad fault. She was very careless, especially with things that belonged to other people. Children who let her play with their toys always wished that they hadn't. One day, Goldilocks decided to take a walk into the deep woods. It was going to be a long walk, so she packed a lunch and borrowed her father's compass to show her the way. And off she went. Well, about 2 sandwiches, a banana, and 4 prunes later, she decided to start back. But the compass now acted very strangely. She started toward what she thought was home, but the first thing you know, she was walking in circles. Only she didn't know it.
Look, footprints. If I follow them, I'm bound to get out of these woods eventually.
So Goldilocks wearily trudged round and round in the same old circle for hours. Then, alone and scared, she covered herself with a cloak. Well, almost. And shivered her way through the long, cold night. Now, just a little way from where she lay stood an odd-looking house. The home of the Bear family, Papa, Mama, and little Oswald.
Breakfast is ready.
Looks good. Go!
Oswald, stop shouting.
That wasn't me. It was Pop.
Why, Bruce Bear.
Hot.
What?
Not what? Hot is hot.
It's supposed to be hot.
Not that doggone hot.
Oh, all right. Why don't we take a little walk until it cools off a bit?
So the 3 bears set out on their walk, leaving their breakfast on the table. Meanwhile, back at the old oak tree, Goldilocks suddenly woke to a wonderful smell of hot porridge. She followed the smell right to the cottage. There was nobody home, but a little thing like that didn't bother Goldilocks.
Oh, joy, breakfast. Oh, that's too hot. I'll put some milk on this one. Oh, wow, that makes it too cold. This one looks just right.
And it tasted just right, too, clear to the bottom of the bowl. Then, because she hadn't had much sleep the night before, Goldilocks began to feel tired.
Oh, these chairs look good. Oh, dear, this one's much too high. And this one's much too low. But this one is just right.
So, Goldilocks rocked and rocked in Oswald's tiny chair until one time she rocked just a little too far. But Goldilocks didn't care. After all, it wasn't her chair. Still, she needed a place to rest, so upstairs she went to lie down in one of the beds. Papa's bed looked pretty inviting, but it was too hard. While Mama's bed was much too soft, but little Oswald's bed was, well, you guessed it, just right. So Goldilocks quickly dropped off to sleep just as the bears returned from their walk.
I thought I told you to close the door, Oswald.
I did.
Perhaps somebody's been here while we were gone.
Oh? Anybody here? Oh, what the ding-dong! Somebody's been eating my porridge!
Somebody's been eating my porridge.
Somebody's been eating my porridge and didn't leave spoon one.
Look in the other room, Bruce.
Somebody's been rocking in my chair!
Somebody's been rocking in my chair.
Somebody's been rocking in my chair, and were they ever heavy?
Bruce, someone's upstairs.
Careful now, there may be trouble. Somebody's been sleeping in my bed.
Somebody's been sleeping in my bed.
Somebody's been sleeping in my bed, and here she is.
Oh!
Things got pretty frantic then. Until Goldilocks dashed out of the house and ran all the way home.
Now, Bruce, she's only a peeple. She doesn't know any better.
And I'll bet she sure learned a good lesson.
Well, that was true. From that time on, Goldilocks was as careful as could be of everybody's things, even her own. So, of course, she lived happily ever after. And after a little house cleaning and mending, so did the 3 bears.
You remember how surprised the world scientists were when they looked through their 1,000-inch telescope and saw Rocky and Bullwinkle flying back from the moon. But when the boys made their one-point landing, the explanation was ridiculously simple. Bullwinkle had tried to bake a quick rising cake from his grandmother's recipe. The result, naturally, was the world's most powerful rocket fuel. Bullwinkle was immediately ordered to go to work for the government to duplicate the recipe, which unfortunately had been torn in half in the explosion.
Yeah, I know how much, but not what of.
Everybody was interested in the result, including two notorious spies, Boris Badenov and Natasha Fatal. Failing in their attempt to get the formula, they decided to do away with the moose. So Natasha handed him a ticking package containing 14 sticks of dynamite, wired to go off in 30 seconds.
I'd planned to leave in a couple of minutes.
Don't worry, darling. You will.
But as Natasha tried to open the door, she found it had been locked behind her.
The key. Where's the cotton-picking key?
Oh, the key. Well, I got it here somewhere.
18 seconds. 17. 16.
Let's see. Here's the key to my locker at DS-84.
Hurry up, please.
Key to my hope chest. It's little because I'm kind of hopeless.
I must go quickly.
I'm doing my level best.
12. 11. 10.
3 trunk keys, in case I ever grow a trunk.
Time is running out.
8. 7. 6.
Hey, that one belongs to the Frostbite Falls Volunteer Fire Department.
Yeah, wonder how they're starting the engine these days.
Give me my package, you fool.
3, 2, 1. That's what I like. Precision timing.
A few minutes later, Bullwinkle found the right key, and the furious Natasha left to meet her partner in crime.
Boris promised to meet me here. Where is he? Oh, there you are, darling. What do we do next?
We do what any intelligent, self-sufficient spy with real initiative would do. We wait for instructions.
Meanwhile, the fact that Bullwinkle's rocket fuel was made from his grandmother's fudge cake recipe was having a great effect on the whole country. Top scientists discarded their most complex apparatus.
Erwin, go get me an 8-inch cake tin and a set of cookie cutters.
Colleges changed their course of study.
This year, gentlemen, we will study atomic structure, nuclear physics, and fudge making.
The effect spread to other countries.
But you are top nuclear physicist. How come you are sent to Siberia?
My biscuits were too heavy.
In the USA, grandmothers rose to national prominence. As advisors to the president,
It's raining. You'd better put on your rubbers.
as scientists,
I'd like you to meet our new head of research and development.
Hello, boys.
even bathing beauty contests took on a new look. Grandmothers reigned supreme. In their own laboratory, Rocky and Bullwinkle were still hard at work.
Here's the latest one, Rocky.
Will it make a good rocket fuel, Bullwinkle?
Well, I don't know, but it'll sure make a dandy lunch.
The boys wouldn't have been so happy if they had chanced to look behind them, for at that moment, a scaly green hand was raising a strange weapon and pointing it right at their heads. Don't miss the next exciting episode, Bullseye Bullwinkle or Destination Moose.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Ooh, don't know my own strength.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like. And now for a more serious note on our program, we bring you the Poetry Corner.
Hello there, poetry lovers. Today's poem is the well-known favorite, The Swing by Robert Louis Stevenson. How do you like to go up in a swing? Up in the air so blue. Oh, I do think it the pleasantest thing every child can do. Up in the air and over the wall, till I can see so wide. Rivers and trees and cattle and all, over the countryside. Till I look down on the garden green, down on the roof so brown. Up in the air I go flying again, up in the air and down. How do you like to go up in a swing? Up in the air so blue? Oh, I do think it the pleasantest thing ever a child can do.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But...
See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Our story opens today high atop New York City, in the luxurious penthouse of perhaps the most famous soldier of fortune the world has ever known. Me. How do you do? Excuse the position, just practicing my yoga. Well, now that you're here, we may as well get to know each other. My name is Peabody. I suppose you know yours. I guess you're wondering about this contraption. It belongs to Sherman. He's my boy. Here, Sherman. Here, boy. Shake hands. Say hello.
Hello.
Smart as a whip, isn't he? Now about this amusing little gadget. The story really starts with me, naturally. As a youth, I was just an average genius, the puppy prodigy, they called me. Got my degree at Harvard when I was 3, Wagner cum laude, of course. Then a brief period in the Foreign Service. I speak 8 languages fluently, all at once, that is, including English. Then a few research projects for the government, and I dabbled in the stock market, where I was known as the Wolf of Wall Street. But somehow I felt that something was missing in my life, so I made up my mind to get a boy. I looked high and low, but couldn't find one that met my high standards. Then one day, while watching some boys at their innocent play, I spotted Sherman. My heart went out to him. I'm always pulling for the underboy. I dismissed the others, and Sherman followed me home. He wasn't at all what I was looking for. Oh, he looked at me with those big brown eyes, but I was firm. I took him home. This is where you live?
Yep, that's been home sweet home all my life.
Where have you been, you little brat?
Just visiting.
Get in here.
One moment, sir.
And what do you want, mutt?
The name, sir, is Peabody, and I intend to adopt this boy. Naturally, the newspapers made a big thing of it.
Extra, extra, dog to adopt orphan. Doggy wants to be daddy. Read all about it.
I had to submit references, so I got some old friends to write letters. Then, of course, I was investigated thoroughly. My background was unimpeachable. Still...
But he's not a fit person to bring up a boy. In fact, he's not even a person at all.
Your Honor, I consider that an excellent recommendation. And I finally got Sherman.
This court can see no reason why, if a boy can have a dog can't have a boy.
Daddy!
Sherman, let's get one thing clear. I will never submit to being addressed by that ridiculous name. You will call me Mr. Peabody. Or, when speaking informally, simply Peabody.
Yes, Mr. Peabody.
So, that was that. But I soon found it's next to impossible to raise a boy in an apartment. Guppies, yes, but a boy, no. They need running room. So I built this for Sherman's birthday. Happy birthday, Sherman.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Peabody. Well, what is it?
Well, actually, it's a time machine. I call it a Wayback. We just set it, turn it on, open the door, and there we are. Or were, really.
Puribus delenda est, in tres partes argentum sum.
What did he say? What did he say?
Well, that's simple. He said... Oh, never mind. I'll fix it.
So, friends, for a goodbye in a new or used chariot, it's Publius Maximus the Grinning Gaul.
It sounded better in Latin. Can we go somewhere else?
Of course.
With this key, friend.
Mr. Franklin, the lightning!
I intend to demonstrate the principle illustrated by the storage properties of the Leyden jar.
BF, the lightning is...
Gee, we couldn't get a word in edgewise.
I know. A few more adjustments, and behold, not a time machine, but a should-have-been machine. Observe.
With this key, friend...
Mr. Franklin, your kite is going to be struck by lightning.
Oh, really?
It's nice to be a part of history. But all in all, it's just the thing for a boy in an apartment. Eh, Sherman? Well, I thought it was. Of course, he's only a boy, and...
Mr. Peabody, that's the nicest present anybody ever had.
Yes, of course, Sherman. No doubt about it. Every dog should have a boy.
Rocky and Bullwinkle really started something just by trying to bake a cake. For instead of dessert, they wound up with an explosive that blew their stove clean to the moon. The nation was astounded.
That cake batter must be a revolutionary rocket fuel.
Grandma called it sponge cake.
Bullwinkle was immediately made director of guided mousses, and he and Rocky set out to duplicate the recipe, which unfortunately had been torn in half by the explosion. But apparently not everybody wanted them to succeed. For when we left them last time, a scaly green hand was raising a sinister weapon and pointing it right at their heads.
Hokey smoke, Bullwinkle. Look there.
Now, Kidney?
Not now, Clyde.
Why not? I haven't scrooched anybody since we've been here.
What are they, Rocky?
I don't know. I've never seen anything like them.
Maybe they're congressmen.
Who are you?
Put your hands over your head, please, and no sudden moves. Clyde here is very nervous.
Yes, especially in this finger.
Yeah, that's the worst one, too.
What do you fellas want, anyway?
Yeah, and how come the funny suits?
Funny suits?
They're out of this world.
You're so right.
I am?
Yes. We're from the moon.
The moon?
Yes, and if there's one thing we don't want, it's an invasion from Earth.
Especially an invasion of tourists.
We lead such a quiet life on the moon. Take a look at what we had to go through just to prepare for a visit here.
Yeah, we had to practice dodging traffic.
And listening to jukeboxes.
And filling out forms.
And breathing smog.
And riding on subways.
And regular bathing.
Oh, it was awful.
7 of us were chosen. Only 2 made it.
So you see, we must stop you from using that formula. One way or another.
Well, I don't mind that one way. It's the another that bothers me.
But we don't even have the formula yet.
Do I scrooge them now, Kidney?
Well, not if they don't have the formula.
Oh, moon rats.
But we'll come back. And as soon as they get the rocket fuel...
Zap!
Yes. Zap. Bye now.
And the 2 green men slipped out through the ventilator shaft. Hours later, as they made their way home.
Moon Man, boy, were you scared, Bullwinkle?
Of course not. You suppose I can take my hands down now?
But our boys still weren't out of danger, for in his hotel room 12 stories up, Boris was readying another fiendish plan.
You have the orders in code, Natasha?
Yes.
So translate.
Let me see. These 2 words say, kill moose.
I knew it. And look, the squirrel is with him. It's going to be a double feature.
And the heavy safe hurtled straight down toward the unsuspecting pair. Be sure to see our next episode, Squeeze Play, or Invitation to the Trance.